So the next thing I'm going to talk about is Darwin's theory of evolution. H.G. Wells was fascinated with evolution. He was very scientific, and he loved the idea of evolution. He believed in it. He did not believe that people were created by God and people were put here for a reason. So I was able to find an article called "Discoveries in Victoria," and Discoveries in Variation. Sorry, and it was written in 1895 by H.G. Wells, and it talks about the process of natural selection. And that is another point that Darwin was really big on, was the process of natural selection. And how he, in this book, or this article, he talks about Darwin's theory and how he believes in the Darwin's theory. And with the information about H.G. Wells, the reader can tell, as in the reader as me, can tell that he backed up Darwin's theory. And the book was about the evolution and how people evolve into class, as I said before. He also believed in devolution, and the reader could interpret the text meaning the Eloi having a lack of competition. So the Eloi was a lack of competition made from devolve and created them to be dumb. Or, so the Eloi were kind of like humans and they were dumb. They didn't have any reasoning, basically. And later on allowed the Morlocks to outpower the Eloi because the Morlocks were savages and they could outpower the Eloi. The Eloi had no way of fighting back. So H.G. Wells' time, as in the Victorian era, always battled with the question: if evolution happened, then if God did not create us, why are we here? Well, that's a hard question to answer, but it almost felt like they were always been lied to, and it was hard to follow the theory of evolution because Christianity was a huge part in the Victorian era. People were expected to go to class or to church every Sunday. Wells believed in the theory of evolution, which was a minority opinion, and the time machine goes against the existence of God and the human purpose. And that was, if you read between the lines of that book, it is, of that time, it is not normal because people believe in God, and Christianity was a big part of that time. So Darwin's theory, many people didn't believe in the theory of evolution, kind of as of today. Many people don't believe in evolution. Many people believe in God put us on this earth for a reason. So in the Victorian era, the role of man is the time of this time was the role of man. They were masculine. In the time machine, it explained women to be very delicate and dressed in a dress. At this time machine, men were expected to provide for the family, and men were supposed to protect his family. On a piece of figurative language, when we talk about figurative languages and imagery or symbolism, first I'm going to talk about symbolism. So with symbolism in the time machine, first I'm going to talk about imagery. With imagery in the time machine, Wells does an outstanding job explaining imagery and explaining different objects or places where he is at. So first I'm going to talk about the Palace of Green Porcelain. So the Palace of Green Porcelain was a place, an old museum that was broken down in the book, and him and Weena, which was a girl that really liked the time traveler, which I'll explain here in a little bit. So the time machine, or the Palace of Green Porcelain, was an abandoned museum in the year 802,701. The time traveler explained the texture of the walls and how they were all dusty, and the texture and the color was green, so that's why they called it green. And he explained different objects and like paintings. He explained different paintings that was in the museum, and he explained different projects that was in the museum, such as stuff from the old time. And I found within the palace was explained to be extremely old of this time, and Weena was really fascinated, and the time traveler was really fascinated because he has never seen this stuff before. And so H.G. Wells also explains other great things. He explains the difference between Eloi and Morlocks, how the Eloi were living above ground, and they were children-like, but they were children-like, and they did not